Hello and welcome to this Affinity photo tutorial, and it's going to be a beginner's look at presets. Now presets are, I guess in a way, a bit like Photoshop actions. Their actions, I suppose, could be split between either Affinity's macros and Affinity's presets. It's they maybe sort of sit in between the two. So this is looking at the presets. Now what this is are adjustments that you have made and you like those adjustments and you may want them to use them again in the future, so you save those adjustments so they can be used again as preset adjustments. Now there may be more than two, but the only two that I can think of off the top of my head are adjustments made via either the adjustments tab or the adjustments button here, where you pick your adjustments and you can have presets that way, or there are presets in the develop persona. So I've got this picture here from pixabay.com, and this is how the picture looks as you download it. And if I turn on this layer here, this is a preset using the adjustments that I mentioned here, and this was the recolor adjustment, and this preset I believe is part of Affinity Photo. It is a preset made by Serif and comes with the program. And this next picture is a preset that I did in Developer, and this is my own one. I called it Golden Glow, I think I called it, and this was the effect using my presets in Developer. So I'm going to have a look first at using the adjustment presets and maybe saving your own, and then I'm going to look at making and saving presets in the developer persona. So we'll start with a new picture. Again, I got from pixabay.com. Now let's say, for example, you are going to add, like I did before, which was the recolor. Now by default it starts off with this red color, and you can make adjustments and what have you, and you can add a preset if you click on here. Well, I haven't made any alterations, so we're not going to add a preset at this present moment in time, but if you've made alterations and you like them, you could save them in that way. But this doesn't help you select a preset that you've already made. So let me delete that, go back to our start image. Now I would say 9 times out of 10 when you're editing you would use your own settings, so you would probably come to here to get your adjustment list, or you could do it from up here, layers, new adjustment layer, and get them that way. I almost never use this tab, but this is the tab that you really need if you want to use and save presets. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click and drag this tab out and put it over here, and then I'm going to stretch this out so I can see the layers tab as well. So once you've got these, if I come to the recolor and click on that, it will obviously start with the default color, but it also shows you the presets that are saved. So you've got coarse sepia and fire, which was the one I used there. That was the fire preset. So that is how you can use a preset, and any of these, say for exposure, you could then add the different adjustments presets. So I've got, you can see in the layers tab over here, I've got the recolor adjustment, and I've just got the exposure adjustment which I've just added. And let's go for one more. Let's just go for black and white. They got the default cold, warm, and one that I made myself some time ago. Let's see what that one looks like, because some will work and some won't. We'll leave that on default. So that is how you can save your presets, not save them, use presets that are already there. Many of them are made by Serif, and you can make your own. And this is what I want to look at now. So let me just get rid of these adjustments I've made here. Right, let me just center this. And I'll close these down. So what color should we go for? I mean, for example, say the gradient map. You have quite a few presets here. You know, be it ultraviolet, nuclear, cyanotype. I think there's two I might have made from a tutorial. Golden, and then two types of black and white. So if we come back to the default color, so I'm going to make my own preset gradient here, and these are just going to be random colors, and it's going to look pretty horrible. And let's try. Let's go for a blue. Like that. Come to there, and we go for a slightly, maybe lighter blue, and I'll get rid of that altogether. So let's go back to that one. Right, pretty horrible, I freely admit. Let's make this a tad darker down there. Alright, so let's say that's the adjustment I want to make, and I was happy with that. Now if I click on add preset, I'll need to give it a name, so I'm going to call it Misty Blue. And I've now got into the habit of adding my name onto them, so I don't get confused with ones I've made and ones that Serif have made, which I have done in the past. So to avoid confusion, I now add my name. So that has now been added to the Misty Blue gradient map. So if I come back to this image here, get rid of that adjustment. So I've got this original image here, and if I click on the Misty Blue preset, that is now going to use that preset on this image. So that is how you can make and save your presets. Let me just shut that down, close that. So any and all of these, I'm pretty much sure, of these adjustments that you have here, you can add a preset. If it's in the corner up here, you can add a preset to the adjustments list. The only thing is, like I said, you need to really access them, you need to do it via the adjustments tab, which is slightly annoying, but it's, you know, it's doable. Let me just delete that one, and let me put this tab back into here if I can get it to go. There we go. So those tabs are all available there, and you can just shut them as you need them. So that any of them here, when you click on each one it will give you various presets, many of them made by Serif, or you can make and save your own. Only problem here is you can't export them for other people to use, which again you can't do in the developer persona either, which is probably a trick I think Serif have missed out on. They may add it in future ones, but yeah, because there's quite a big market for Photoshop actions out there. In fact, they almost give them away, just to make you look at their websites and what have you. So I think it's a trick that Serif have missed, not allowing you to export your pre-made presets to other people. But that's just my personal view. So let me get rid of all of those and come back to our start image. Just center that. So now we're going to have a look at the developer persona. Now it's this icon up here, and you click on that and it will put your image into the developer persona. Now pretty much the developer persona is like, exclusively, not exclusively, that's the wrong word, it's meant for developing your raw files. So it will come in, the raw file will come into this persona. You can develop it, making all your alterations, and then once you finish, click develop, and it will go into the main part of Affinity Photo where you can fine tune with adjustments. But there are also presets in here, and you can put your ready-made JPEG image that you may have developed previously and want to then alter again. You can bring these into the developer's persona like I have done here and make your adjustments again, or you can use presets. Now the presets are up here, so you can make all the alterations you need to in this particular section, and you can then save it as a preset, and each section has their own preset menu. So you physically would have to save a preset for all of these, and then on this tab you'd have to save presets for all of these. Similarly for this one here, and tones, again you'd save them, make all your alterations you're going to make, and then save it as a preset. The only one that doesn't have a preset is the overlay. So if we come back to the basics tab, now one slightly annoying thing here is it lists the last one that I used, which is one I made myself, which was the golden glow, which I showed you on this one, which was that, but it doesn't automatically add that effect. You'd have to come off of that effect and say go back to default and then pick one. Now I'm pretty certain this Vintage Sepia and Vintage Sepia 2, I don't remember making them, so I'm guessing they are part of the program. I could be wrong, but I think they are. So I click on Vintage Sepia 2, it is going to make those adjustments to all the panels within this particular basics tab. So I come to the lens tab, again pick Vintage Sepia 2, and it will make those adjustments. Details, come to Vintage Sepia 2, and it will make those adjustments, adding grain and what have you, noise. And on tones, Vintage Sepia 2, and then that is the finished result using each of the 4 tabs to make your Vintage Sepia 2 image. So let me put these all back to default. Sorry, that one there, default. so that should be back to where it started from. Now it is probably slightly annoying that you have to make sort of 4 different presets for the same result that you want to get. It's a shame they can't just pick a new button down here that says like use all tabs, you know, and pick vintage sepia 2. But it does mean that you can mix and match. I mean, for example, if I come to my preset here that I made for the golden glow, which gives me this nice yellow sort of glow image, and I come to the details, I could use the vintage sepia 2 and add that grain and sort of knock back the colour a bit. So it is quite good in the way that you can mix and match your presets in the developed persona. Let me put these all back to default again. So we are back to this start position. Now I'm going to try and make a new set of presets. So I'm going to start with the one I'm on here, which is curves, black and white, and split toning. I'm just going to use the curves, and I'm going to try and make a sort of golden glow version 2, because I've written those down. The only thing I can't really have too much control over is the curves, because it is a sort of by eye thing, and it will depend on your picture you use first of all to do this. So I've just moved the master line up there. I'm now going to just move the red one roughly to about, I don't know, there. I'm going to leave the green where it is, and I'm going to bring the blue maybe a slightly subtler golden glow, so I won't go so far down this time. Alright, so I like that. And if I then come up to this menu up here, you can, this is that little sort of 4-lined button there, you can add that as a preset, and I'll call this golden glow 2. Okay, so that is now added to my little list of presets, and I'll come to the details, and I'm going to add a little bit of noise. So I'm going to put it on about 15, let's say, just a hint of noise in there, and just add a little bit of detail refinement. And then I'm going to name that now lens correct tab. I'm just going to add the chromic aberration reduction. Just wait for it to finish that. So again, I'm going to add that as a preset. And last of all, I'm just going to have a little tinker around with some of these settings until I'm happy. Like I said before, this is all when you set this up on the picture that you'll start with, and you just have to hope that it works okay on other pictures. Right, let me just add a little bit of clarity and a tad of contrast. So I'm going to bump up the vibrance a bit, and let's have a look at shadows and highlights. Right, so that's hopefully a nice sort of gentle golden glow. So I'm going to now save all those settings. So I can then click develop and it will make all those changes. Just have to wait for it to do that. So it's made those changes that I've done, and if I press Ctrl and Z, it should take it all back to where it was. And I think I have only made a very subtle, well, almost subtle, but that was the difference between using those effects that I've just done. So if we come back to this image here and I turn off that golden glow layer there, I'm now going to, let me just copy this and we'll start with a new version of this, and I'm going to put this into the develop purpose. So I keep forgetting whether it's develop or developer, but it's develop persona. So that is now in the develop persona. So I can then come back and add the settings for each of those ones that I've just made. And again, like I said before, you've got to sort of come off of that effect to go back to the effect that I want to use, if you see what I mean. So that's added the noise. And that has added the golden glow. So if I click develop there, so this was the golden glow that I made the first one, and this is the second one, slightly subtler golden glow with a little bit of noise added, which I don't think I did in this version. So basically that is how you can use and save presets, be they in the adjustments tab or in the develop persona. I can see the benefits of both ways, and like I said before, it is a shame that Serif have not made them to be able to be exported out so you can share them with other people. But hopefully you get the idea, and you can now start making your own presets and hopefully enjoy the program a little bit more. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.